It was supposed to be a good day. You made your coffee, sunlight hit just right. For a brief moment, everything felt steady. And then someone cut you off in traffic. Or maybe it was a co-worker's passive-aggressive jab, a friend who forgot again, or a stranger's careless comment online, and just like that, your peace evaporated. You replayed the moment in your head. You imagined the perfect comeback. You told yourself not to care, but your chest tightened anyway. Sound familiar? We've all been there, hijacked by something or someone we can't control. And yet, here's the truth. No one taught us growing up. No one can make you angry. You allow it. The Stoics knew this centuries ago, that emotions are natural, but suffering from them is optional, that what disturbs your mind isn't the event, but your judgment of it, and that your greatest power is the space between stimulus and response. Today, we live in a world that thrives on outrage. Comment sections boil with hostility. News headlines bait your fury. Even at the grocery store, people are on edge. But you? You don't have to play that game. This video is your roadmap to emotional sovereignty. 10 Stoic principles that will help you stay grounded when others lose their footing. Not through apathy, but through awareness. Not through suppression, but through strength. Because staying calm isn't weakness. It's mastery. It's knowing that your peace is too valuable to trade for temporary rage. So whether you're navigating a toxic relationship, dealing with disrespect at work, or just trying to get through the day without losing your cool, these lessons are for you. You won't just hear ideas, you'll walk away with strategies, with clarity, and with a quiet kind of power that no insult, no setback, no petty comment can touch. This isn't about becoming a stone, it's about becoming an oak tree, still rooted, unshaken by the storm. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Reactions are your choice. It starts with a comment. Maybe they roll their eyes, maybe they laugh a little too loud at your expense, maybe they don't say anything at all, just dismiss you, subtly, intentionally. And there it is, that spark. The rising flame of irritation, injustice, embarrassment, anger. But right here, right now, is where your power begins. Because between what happens and how you respond is a gap, a sacred space, and that space is yours. The Stoics called it the one true freedom. You may not control what happens, but you always control what it means to you. You can't stop people from being rude, petty, selfish, or thoughtless, but you can choose whether their behavior hijacks your peace or bounces harmlessly off the shield of your awareness. Think of a thermostat and a thermometer. A thermometer merely reacts. If the temperature rises, it rises with it. But a thermostat sets the tone. It doesn't just react, it regulates. You have that power. Let's take a real-world example. You walk into a meeting, ready, focused. A colleague cuts you off mid-sentence, condescends, tries to make you look small. You feel that heat rush to your face. Your instinct screams, fight back, put them in their place, but pause. In that pause, you are no longer a prisoner of your instinct. You are free. You can choose silence, or poise, or a calm response that disarms without escalating. You can choose to walk away with your dignity intact, while they stew in their own storm. Epictetus said it best. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That truth applies everywhere. In traffic, in politics, in arguments with loved ones. You don't need the world to be fair, or quiet, or gentle, for you to be at peace. Because anger is expensive. It burns through your clarity, drains your energy, and often punishes you far more than the person who provoked it. But calm is earned. It's the quiet strength that says, you don't control me, I do. So next time you're triggered, pause, name the feeling, notice the urge, and then ask yourself, what would my highest self do right now? Would they lash out or rise above? Would they defend their ego or protect their peace? Your reaction is your legacy in every interaction, and the more you practice owning it, the less anyone can take from you. This is the core of Stoic strength. You don't need a perfect world to be composed. You just need to remember you have a choice, and no one can take that from you. Lesson 2. Stop expecting others to be like you. It stings in the quiet moments. You go out of your way for someone. You show up. You remember the details. You offer kindness without keeping score. And then, when it's your turn to need silence, indifference, excuses, and that voice in your head says, "How could they do this? I would never treat them like that." But here's the truth that cuts sharper than betrayal. They're not you. They don't think like you. They don't love like you. They don't carry the same code. And that's not an insult, that's reality. The Stoics taught us that one of the roots of suffering is expectation. Not just of outcomes, but of people, how they should act, what they should understand, what they should value. When you expect others to mirror your heart, your standards, your integrity, you're not seeing them. You're projecting yourself onto them. And when they fail to reflect you back, you feel it as rejection. But it's not rejection. It's just difference. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever someone does wrong, reflect. What idea of good or evil led them to do it?" He wasn't excusing their behavior. He was liberating himself from disappointment. Because he knew most people act not out of malice, but out of their own limited awareness. So when someone gossips, criticizes, ignores, disrespects, they're revealing their framework, not failing to live up to yours. And the more you accept that, the freer you become. Here's a small example. You remember someone's birthday year after year, and they forget yours. Again, you could simmer, keep score, withdraw, or you could let go. You didn't remember their birthday because you expected something back. You did it because that's who you are. Don't let someone's lack of reciprocity change your generosity. Don't let their chaos change your calm. Don't let their inconsistency shake your integrity. People are who they are, not who you want them to be. So how do you live this? 1. Release the fantasy. Let people be ordinary. Let them be flawed. Let them be human. 2. Set your standards, but hold them for yourself, not as a measuring stick for others. 3. Stop explaining your worth to people who can't see it. Not everyone has the capacity to meet you where you are, and that's okay. You didn't come here to be understood by everyone. You came here to live with clarity, and clarity begins when you accept that your peace does not depend on their behavior. They're allowed to be who they are, and you're allowed to walk away without bitterness. When you stop expecting others to be like you, you stop giving them the power to disappoint you. And in that space, you find your freedom. Lesson 3. Let go of the need to always be right, because peace is more powerful than pride. You felt it before. That tightening in your chest, that urgency to respond, correct, defend. The rising heat when someone says something wrong, or worse, about you. It doesn't matter if it's a friend, a stranger, a co-worker, or a loved one. The moment you feel misunderstood, misjudged, or misquoted, the battle impulse kicks in. I need to set the record straight. But do you? The need to be right is one of the quietest thieves of peace. It disguises itself as intelligence, as justice, as just telling the truth. But more often than not, it's ego in a well-tailored suit. Epictetus once said, "If someone speaks ill of you and it is true, correct yourself. If it is false, laugh. Because truth doesn't need a courtroom, and your worth isn't validated by winning a debate. Here's a hard truth wrapped in gentleness. Many arguments are not about truth. They're about control, and control is always an illusion. You could spend hours proving your point. You could win the argument, flawlessly, factually, passionately, and yet still feel empty, because what you traded was your serenity. You raised your voice, your blood pressure, your defenses, just to hold on to a moment of being right. But at what cost? There's a kind of strength that doesn't show up in rebuttals. It shows up in restraint. It shows up in that deep breath you take when someone gets it all wrong, and you choose silence. Imagine this. A friend misremembers a conversation, accuses you of saying something you didn't. You feel the pull to explain, to dig up receipts to make them see. But instead you pause. You say, "I remember it differently, but I respect your perspective." And then you let it be. You've just chosen peace over pride. And in doing so, you've kept your power. Letting go of the need to always be right doesn't mean becoming passive. It means becoming wise. It means asking, does this matter a year from now? Is this about truth or about being heard? Am I defending my values or just my ego? The Stoics remind us, the wise person doesn't need to be understood by everyone. They only need to be anchored in themselves. So next time you feel the urge to win, pause and ask, is this the hill I want to bleed on? Because peace is a hill too, and far more worth standing on. Let others be wrong about you. Let them misjudge, misquote, misunderstand. You don't need to burn yourself proving your fire exists. You know who you are. And that calm certainty, that's a kind of victory no argument can ever give you. Lesson 4. Stop letting others' words define your worth. Because your value was never up for debate, it only takes one careless sentence, one offhand remark, one cold look from someone who never really knew you. And suddenly, your inner peace feels like it's cracking at the edges. Why does it sting so much? Why can a few words from someone else make you question everything you know about yourself? Because at some point, without realizing it, you handed them the pen and let them start writing your story. But here's the truth the Stoics knew well. What someone says about you reveals them, not you. Their words may land in your space, but they don't belong to you unless you accept them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been." He wasn't saying to ignore insults or pretend they don't hurt. He was reminding us that pain begins the moment we agree with what was said, the moment we internalize someone else's projection as our identity. So let's break that pattern. Imagine someone says, "You're not good enough." Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, according to whom? A person who sees only a fraction of you, a voice shaped by their own wounds, their own story. You are not the opinion of someone who met you on their worst day, or theirs. Think about a time when someone's words stuck to you like glue. Now ask, did their opinion build you or break you? The Stoics teach us to be our own measure, to build an inner fortress so strong that no one's whisper, shout, or silence can shake the foundation. Criticism will come, so will praise. Both are temporary. Both are often inaccurate. Neither should be your compass. Instead, define your worth with your actions, with how you treat others, with what you stand for when no one's clapping, with how you hold yourself in silence, not how you're applauded in noise. There's a quiet dignity in knowing your value, in smiling when misunderstood, in standing tall when belittled, in choosing self-respect over validation. Let them say what they will. You don't need to correct every lie or chase every compliment, because once you stop letting others' words shape you, you become unshakable, not because you've silenced the world, but because you've finally started listening to your own truth, and that's a voice worth trusting. Lesson 5. Protect your energy, set boundaries. Because you are not infinite, and neither is your peace. Let's get real. You can be kind, you can be compassionate, you can have a heart as wide as the sky. But if you don't draw the line, you'll be drained, depleted, disconnected from your own center, and the world will keep taking. You see, not everyone who wants your time deserves your time. Not everyone who needs your help is entitled to your energy. That's not cruelty, that's wisdom. Stoicism teaches us not just to master our emotions, but to master our space, to be the gatekeeper of our own peace. And boundaries, they're the gate. Picture your energy like a reservoir. When you give too much without replenishing, the well runs dry. And then what's left for you? What's left for those you love most? Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Now ask yourself, what kind of people are you letting color your soul? Do they lift you or drain you? Do they respect your time or expect your sacrifice? Do they listen or just wait for their turn to speak? If you don't set limits, life will set them for you, in the form of burnout, resentment, and silent suffering. So here's your reminder. Saying no doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. And being clear is the kindest thing you can be, to yourself and to others. You don't have to explain your every boundary. You don't owe a backstory for protecting your peace. A simple, "that doesn't work for me," is a full sentence. A gentle, "not today," is enough. And if someone gets upset because you said no, that's proof the boundary was needed. Boundaries are not walls to push people away. They're bridges that teach people how to meet you with respect. They're reminders that your time, your energy, your mental space, they matter. So guard them. Be generous with your kindness, yes, but be ruthless with what drains you. And when you start feeling guilty for putting yourself first, remember, you can't pour into others from an empty cup. You weren't born to be exhausted. You were born to be whole. Protect your energy. Honor your limits. Because your peace is not negotiable. It's sacred. Lesson 6. Detach from the opinions of others. Because your peace should never be held hostage by someone else's perception. There comes a quiet moment in life, often after the noise, the judgment, the misunderstood intentions, when you realize you spent too much time trying to prove your worth to people who were never even qualified to measure it. We all do it. We shrink ourselves to fit expectations. We polish our words so they'll land softly. We dress our truth in layers of other people's comfort, and we call it kindness. But deep down, it's fear. Fear of being judged, misunderstood, rejected. And yet, here's what Stoicism offers us, like a lantern in the fog. You are not responsible for how others see you. You're only responsible for how you see yourself. Their opinions, they're not truth. They're projections, reflections of their own insecurities, biases, assumptions. What they see in you is shaped by what they carry in themselves. And to live in reaction to that is to surrender your freedom, inch by inch, thought by thought. Epictetus didn't mince words when he said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." It wasn't cynicism, it was liberation. Because the path of growth isn't paved with applause. It's often lonely, often questioned, and always misunderstood by those who fear change. The Stoic doesn't chase approval. They don't bend to every wind of opinion. They stand not rigidly but rooted. Secure not because others agree, but because they have chosen to belong to themselves. That's what detachment really is. Not indifference, not arrogance, but clarity. Clarity to know. You are not their compliment. You are not their criticism. You are the space in between, the stillness untouched by storm. And so, when someone praises you, Say thank you, but don't cling to it. When someone criticizes you, consider it if it's useful. Then let it pass. Like clouds moving across the sky, let them come, let them go. But don't build your house on them. Your worth isn't a community vote. Your identity doesn't need consensus. And your peace, it's yours, not theirs to grant, not theirs to take. Live from that center, where you don't have to explain yourself, where your values guide you more than validation, where your soul speaks louder than anyone's opinion of you. And in that stillness, you'll find something rare, a kind of unshakable power. Not loud, not boastful, just free. So the next time someone's words try to wrap themselves around your heart, pause. Smile if you must, but walk on, because they're just passing through. And you are staying true. Lesson 7. Respond with silence, not anger. Because not every battle is worth your breath. Sometimes the sharpest words are the ones never spoken. Picture this. You're in the middle of a conversation, and someone crosses the line. Their voice rises, their words cut deep. It's bait. A trap wrapped in volume and venom, and every part of you wants to fire back, to defend, to dominate, to say something, anything that will make them regret opening their mouth. But here's the question the Stoic asks, not how can I win this, but rather, is this worth disturbing my peace? In the heat of the moment, silence feels like surrender, but in truth, it's restraint. It's power. It's the decision to protect your energy rather than prove your ego. Marcus Aurelius once said, "How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" He wasn't advocating weakness. He was offering a masterclass in emotional control. Because when you respond with silence, you don't lose. You choose dignity over drama, self-command over self-destruction. You step back, not to retreat, but to rise above. There's a quiet strength in those who don't react, a mystery that unsettles those who rely on chaos to feel in control. Your silence becomes a mirror, and often it forces the other person to confront the ugliness of their own behavior without you saying a word. Think of a time when you bit your tongue, when you chose not to react. What happened? The moment passed, the fire died down, and you were still whole. Now think of the times you didn't, when you reacted with anger. Was it worth it? Did it bring you peace or just a heavier burden? Stoicism doesn't ask you to suppress your emotions. It invites you to master them, to recognize that silence isn't the absence of feeling, but the presence of wisdom. There are situations where silence speaks volumes, to a disrespectful comment, to passive-aggressive manipulation, to someone trying to lure you into a fight they already lost within themselves. Responding with silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about your peace, your growth, your values, to not waste them on noise. Here's a simple practice. When provoked, pause. Feel the heat rise, but don't act on it. Ask yourself, does this deserve my voice or just my silence? And when in doubt, choose stillness. Because in that stillness, you reclaim your authority. You send a clear message without saying a word. My peace is not up for negotiation. Let others throw their stones. You don't have to pick them up. You can build something better. Out of silence, self-control, and the strength to walk away. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Lesson 8. Use gratitude to dissolve anger. Because thankfulness is the antidote to emotional poison. Let's be honest. Anger sneaks in through the smallest cracks. The barista gets your order wrong. Your partner forgets something important. A stranger makes a careless remark at the grocery store. It starts as irritation, then builds into a slow, simmering resentment, and before you know it, your whole day is tinted by that one moment. But here's what the Stoics understood, long before modern psychology gave it a name. Anger cannot take root where gratitude is growing. You see, the mind cannot fully hold both at the same time. Try it. Be truly thankful and furious simultaneously. It doesn't work. Gratitude doesn't just suppress anger, it transforms it. It redirects your focus from what's missing, what went wrong, what offends you, to what remains, what's good, what gives you life. Seneca said, "We should enjoy blessings while we have them, for we are not certain to have them long." And in that spirit, the practice of gratitude becomes a daily discipline of emotional freedom. It's not just soft sentimentality, it's mental resilience. It's a choice to zoom out when life tempts you to zoom in on the negative. Imagine this. You're stuck in traffic. You're late. Someone just cut you off. The heat rises in your chest. Your jaw tightens. Now pause, take a breath, and shift the lens. I'm grateful I have a car, that I'm safe, that I have somewhere to go and someone waiting for me. That small moment of thankfulness isn't just pleasant, it's powerful. It stops the spiral. Or maybe you're arguing with someone you love, and in the middle of the frustration you remember, I'm grateful this person is still in my life, that we care enough to fight, that we still have time to work through this. Suddenly, anger turns into humility, into presence, into peace. Gratitude reminds you of the bigger picture. It brings you back to reality, not the one built by emotion, but the one grounded in perspective. Here's how to make it practical. Every time anger starts to rise, catch it. Pause. And name 3 things you're grateful for in that moment. The warmth of sunlight, a friend who texted, your breath steady and calm. Whatever is true and good, name it. Anchor yourself to it. Because you can't rage while you're remembering the grace in your life. The Stoics didn't deny pain or injustice. They simply believed that what you choose to dwell on determines your state of mind. Gratitude is a dwelling place that anger cannot enter. So the next time life pokes at your nerves, don't strike back, step back, and give thanks. Thankfulness won't erase every wound, but it will protect you from letting those wounds define your spirit. In a world that wants you reactive, stay grounded. And in a moment that wants you bitter, be grateful. That's not weakness. That's Stoic strength. Lesson 9. Reframe criticism as growth. Criticism isn't an attack, it's an invitation, if you're wise enough to accept it. Let's face it, being criticized never feels good. Even the most composed among us feel that sting. You pour your heart into something. You speak from a place of truth, and then someone cuts it down, points out the flaws, or says, I would have done it differently. And just like that, your confidence takes a hit. Your ego flinches. You want to defend, argue, explain. But what if you didn't? What if you stepped back and asked, what is this moment trying to teach me? See, the Stoics didn't just tolerate criticism, they valued it, because they understood something most people don't. The sharp edge of critique can either wound your pride or shape your character. You choose. Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled an empire and still journaled about his weaknesses, once wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after." That's not fragility, that's strength. That's humility sharpened into power. Here's the secret. Most criticism isn't about you. It's about the lens the other person is looking through, their fears, their standards, their story. So instead of absorbing every word as a verdict on your worth, Step outside the emotion and examine it with curiosity. Ask, is there truth here I've been unwilling to face? Is this about growth or just someone projecting their own pain? What part of this, however small, can refine me? That shift in mindset changes everything. Take the example of an artist whose work is publicly criticized. One could shut down, never paint again. The other could ask, what are they seeing that I missed? And with that, they evolve. The difference isn't in the critique, it's in the perspective. This doesn't mean all criticism is valuable. There is empty criticism, petty, malicious, or uninformed. You don't have to swallow that poison. But you can sift, keep the wisdom, discard the rest. And remember, just because something hurts doesn't mean it's meant to harm. Sometimes it's just friction needed to polish the stone. Practical Stoicism means this. When you're criticized, pause. Don't react. Reflect. Don't retreat into pride or collapse into shame. Ask, what would a wiser version of me learn from this? That pause between the sting and the story you tell yourself, that's your power. Criticism won't stop coming, but your reaction to it, that can become your superpower. So next time you're judged, doubted, or challenged, don't fight it, face it, reframe it as fuel. Use it not to shrink, but to sharpen. Because the Stoic doesn't fear judgment. He transforms it into growth. Lesson 10. Master the art of letting go. Holding on to anger is like clutching a burning coal, hoping to throw it at someone but burning yourself first. We all carry something. A grudge from a broken friendship, a resentment over a comment that stung years ago. The anger of being wronged, overlooked, betrayed. At first it feels justified, like we're holding on to strength, like our anger keeps the wound alive for a reason. But time reveals the truth. You're not holding the fire. The fire is holding you, and every day you grip it tighter, you become the one getting scorched. The Stoics didn't waste energy on bitterness. They understood that peace isn't something we find. It's something we protect. And nothing steals peace faster than the refusal to let go. Marcus Aurelius said, "Is a man afraid of change? What can come into being without it? What's closer to nature's heart? Even pain has a season, but we keep dragging winter into spring because we can't put it down." Letting go is not forgetting. It's not saying what happened was okay. It's not surrendering to the person who hurt you. Letting go is an act of power. It's saying, I refuse to let this moment control me any longer. I release this weight, not for them, but for me. Because when you don't, it shows. In your tension, in your voice, in the way you overreact to small things that have nothing to do with the original wound. The fire grows quietly inside, and you become someone you don't recognize. So how do you let go? Start by acknowledging what you're holding. Name it, write it, feel it. Don't dress it up in strength or pretend it doesn't matter. Then ask, what has this anger cost me? Who have I become by carrying it? And finally, what kind of person do I want to be on the other side of this? Because your peace is waiting, not in an apology that may never come, not in justice served or balance restored, but in your own hands, the hands that can choose to unclench. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop bleeding. It's not passive, it's radical. You step out of the prison of the past. You stop rehearsing the story. You begin writing a new one. The Stoics knew. To hold on is to stay stuck in what can't be changed. To let go is to return to what can. Your thoughts, your direction, your life. So, if you're still carrying something that doesn't serve your peace, an old hurt, a silent grudge, a memory you keep replaying, ask yourself, is this worth the space it's taking in my heart? And if the answer is no, open your hand and let the coal drop. That's not weakness, that's freedom. Let's take a moment to breathe. Not just a breath for oxygen, but a breath for awareness, for perspective, for remembering what this journey has been about. Because if you've made it this far, you're not just here to listen. You're here because you're ready to live differently. In a world that constantly pokes at your patience, presses your buttons, and pulls you into storms that don't belong to you, it's easy to forget that peace is still an option, that composure is still a choice, that your emotions do not belong to other people, they belong to you. That's the core truth of Stoicism. You can't control the world, but you can master how you move through it. Let's be honest, people will be rude, traffic will jam, plans will fall apart. Someone will misunderstand you, talk over you, maybe even try to tear you down. And in those moments, your instinct will scream for reaction, to defend, to attack, to prove. But you don't have to follow that script anymore, because now you know what the Stoics knew. There is power in the pause, freedom in detachment, wisdom in silence, and strength in choosing peace over pride. You have tools now, 10 of them. The ability to choose your response instead of reacting impulsively. The clarity to release expectations and let people be who they are. The courage to let go of being right and value your inner stillness more than winning a debate. The confidence to set boundaries and protect your time, energy, and well-being. The perspective to detach from opinions and live from your values, not their voices. The restraint to respond with silence when words would only feed the fire. The gratitude that transforms every inconvenience into a moment of grounding. The humility to learn from criticism rather than run from it. The grace to let go of the past and unburden your future. And here's the most important lesson. Peace doesn't happen by accident. It's practiced, it's chosen, every day. You don't need to wait for others to behave. You don't need to wait for life to be perfect. You can begin now. With the next rude comment, the next unexpected delay, the next unfair moment, ask yourself, do I want to be right, or do I want to be calm? Do I want to control others, or master myself? Is this worth my peace? When you start asking those questions, you stop being a victim of circumstance, and you start becoming the architect of your emotional world. Because emotional strength isn't loud. It doesn't need to shout or prove itself. It's quiet, grounded, unbothered. And when you live from that space, you change the way you walk into every room. You change the energy you carry. You change your life. So go forward, not unfeeling, but unshaken, not passive, but poised, not numb, but deeply alive, and in control of your inner kingdom. That's Stoic strength, not to be untouched by life, but to be unmoved by what doesn't deserve to shake you. And when you live this way, you give the world something rare, a calm presence in the chaos, a still flame in the wind, a person who cannot be owned, provoked, or broken, because their peace lives inside and no one else holds the key. Thank you for watching and walking this Stoic path with us. If this video brought you clarity, strength, or a moment of peace, don't let it stop here. Like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that emotional freedom is possible. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content rooted in wisdom and truth. Join our growing community, and let's keep building the kind of strength the world can't take away. Stay grounded, stay free.